Afternoon, PooTube. Hope everyone's good. Now, after the usual suspects that attack anything of worth, even when they've attacked Team Tommy themselves or whatever, they seem to be able to start to get the ball rolling or whatever to attack anything of worth again or whatever, which is madness to me in itself or whatever. When the usual suspects are the ones that have been calling people around Team Tommy paedophiles and nonces and all that, you would hope that they would never be given any traction whatsoever by people that are Team Tommy or whatever, or avid supporters of Team Tommy or whatever. But do you know what I mean? That don't seem to be the case. Give the same scumbags traction, give the same scumbags time of day, etc. Add to, you know what I mean? Add to their madness or whatever. Which, from me, it doesn't sit well at all. Now, I did wonder why people like Rolling Thunder, nobody questioned them, did they? When they was supporting Team Tommy and all this whatnot, nobody questioned them. A lot of the people in Rolling Thunder had very questionable allegiances to all sorts, including the very lefty King's Flag fraud or whatever. Now, it seems to be, well, it wasn't. There is no questioning about it. The people in Rolling Thunder that was fully supporting the lefty King's Flag fraud or whatever seemed to cause quite a lot of controversy around that situation or whatever at the time. Now, all these things are well documented. Was it called the Great Gathering or something like that in London or whatever, where you had hundreds of veterans, possibly thousands of veterans, that was part of the Rolling Thunder and whatever, part of their plan that day. And there is evidence to show that these people, a lot of them ex-veterans, was looking to storm Parliament based off the back of a prolific scammer who believed he was the genuine king of the UK. They was using his nonsense, his bullshit, his scrapbook as a basis for storming Parliament. Now, like I say, there's evidence and whatever. People were showing grappling hooks and all sorts to scale over things and whatever to get past security measures to go and storm Parliament. Now, how did that end realistically? It ended with Simon Bean, Dean Cumblepatch, and a couple of others calling it out for what it was, calling King John Don't Want to Know Her, or whatever his name is, King John Manoa basically was his name, calling him out, calling Andy Devine out. They put the King's Flag lot, I think it was £1 trillion reward on their heads. Oh man. Now, Simon Bean did a video. I will pull it back out just to kind of show people or whatever. I understand that not everyone is around at that time, so they're in the dark, they're just being told whatever they're being told, but obviously not in receipt of the facts or the evidence, which is quite disheartening, to be honest. The thing is, if you don't learn from past mistakes, you will quite easily fall for the same mistakes over and over and over again. Now, it seems anything on the right, I believe the Rolling Thunder and whatever was all rubber stamped, if you like, or whatever, by Team Tommy. Now, obviously they weren't looking too great into it, Team Tommy. They didn't seem to be onto the fact that these people was all going to end up in shit, getting involved with some mad scammers, and only due to a few people, myself, CMW, Tony Bugle, and a few others and whatever, that was actually bringing these things to attention. Only because of that did Simon Bean and Dean Cumberpatch call it off storming Parliament on the very day that it was going to happen, very close to the wire. Now, if decent people hadn't intervened and decent people hadn't pulled it apart and shown everybody, look, it is a scam, you're just going to get yourself in shit. This mental guy is not actually the king of fucking England. But you know what I mean? Enough people jumped in, both feet first, including our veterans, which is very concerning. People was buying shares. I think the smallest share you could buy was £25, and I think they went right up to £1,000 or something around that or whatever. And people was buying shares left, right and centre. And where did it get them realistically? It nearly got a lot of people in prison. For the veterans, it would have been high treason, wouldn't it? So, yeah, it's not very good to see this far forward that people are still like in that deluded state or whatever. Now, like I say, the people that was around that or whatever, seeing it through at the time for what it was or whatever, a lot of people was disgruntled or whatever that what was the plan of action or whatever weren't to come to fruition or whatever. Now, obviously, if these things was real, then yeah, you would have had full support of everybody or whatever. When it's based on Billy bullshit and it's just going to land you all in trouble, then obviously the decent people who do the research will always speak out or whatever. Now, it's one of them, innit? People around Rolling Thunder, they was doing similar things. I think Babs has even attended one of their retreats or whatever. Now, I don't know what the cost was involved. You'd have to ask Babs, maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of people doing retreats and this, that and the other, people with PTSD and all this kind of thing and whatever. There's generally always a cost to it. These things are generally not for free. Now, I think it does seem to be honest, that the reason Shield are being attacked, it seems to be the reason that they are being attacked by the usual suspects, and then people jumping on the back of that bandwagon that are also connected to Team Tommy, avid followers, etc., is because it's not been rubber stamped by Team Tommy, which is just madness. Not everything has to be connected to Team Tommy or the right or anything like that. If anything, realistically, do the numbers. Has the right gained more momentum, and has it gained more numbers for the whole time that it's been around, or has it just divided off into loads of little pockets of people that are generally going at each other? Oh, you're not supporting my party, so I'm not friends with you. Oh, you're not doing this, so I'm not. It's just literally a bunch of egotistical fucking parties or whatever, and dividing up the following that it did have. Now, it's never achieved real big numbers anyway, realistically. There's been more numbers at marches and demos and whatever for things like what was it, the million man march or whatever, that was against us going to war or whatever. There's been more people on that than there has anything to do with the right, you know what I mean? Even in the big days of the EDL and all that, it's never, you know what I mean? You're never actually bringing in that many numbers. If anything, it's minuscule numbers considering the amount of people in the country. So why would anybody, when you're in a position now where you can see the police are no good to you, they ain't going to do fuck all, nobody's making the streets any safer, why would you just fish from that one pool, realistically, to then give the free ammunition to the mentally ill lefties or whatever to just call you all, oh, you're all far right, you're all racist, blah blah blah, and then it dies, and all that you have is the people out of that very small pond of people which support it or whatever. Now, Shield have made it clear that they don't want loads of other shit washing into what they're doing. They've made it clear that they don't want it turning into a oh Tommy fucking cast off or whatever, because it just kills anything. It just destroys it. You're literally making yourself into a point where you know what's going to happen. A couple of months down the line, you're all going to be far right, you're all going to be rejected by a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? More people than not. Now, and rightly or wrongly, do you know what I mean? But that is how it goes. Now, if people have recognised that and can see what they want to build, they don't want anything to do with that, they just want to keep it for what it is meant to be, which is to keep our streets safe for our women and children, which are at this moment in time feeling not safe. How many people have seen women and children complaining that it's not safe, blah blah blah, they're being harassed, they're being whatever by all these illegals that are flooding in daily or whatever. Do you know what I mean? The list is endless of people that do not feel safe, and if we can't make our own women and children feel safe, then we are not doing our fucking jobs as men. It is that simple. Now, you can join all these political parties, you have to pay for them as well, don't you? Usually 30 quid a throw or whatever. So how much money did Anne-Marie Waters collect before she fucked off and did fuck all with it? What use did you get out of it, realistically? You handed your money over, but what actually did you receive? And it's the same with all the other parties. They just want your money. They're not bringing any change. They ain't going to bring any change. They're just lining their own pockets. The freedom of speech union, people are paying £30 to join that. What is it actually giving you? Is it making your streets any safer? Are your women and children safer now because of it? I don't think so. Now, there's been already for years or whatever bikers that are looking after their own communities. It's been going for years in America or whatever, and it's just literally the same as that, but over here, and it's trying to be done a little bit more professional. Now you've got people saying, oh well, they're not doing this and they're not doing that, and it's not, they're not fucking dotting all the I's and crossing the T's or whatever. It's 4 weeks and 3 days old. Do you know what I mean? Was Rome built in a fucking day, realistically? For people to be attacking it just because it's not been rubber stamped by Team Tommy, you honestly need to give your heads a wobble. Not everything needs to be attached to one thing. And like I say, by doing that, you're literally killing it anyway. So, in my opinion, two things can exist and coincide with each other without having to be tied to each other. It is that simple. Now, I believe, from what I've seen or whatever, Shield consists of people from all sides or whatever, mainly concerned parents, concerned grandparents, concerned members of the public, a lot of ex-forces, a lot of veterans, backed up by the 1% bikers. Now, it is what it is. For people that want to go against that or whatever, you're literally making yourself very questionable. It seems to be if it's not tied and rubber stamped to Team Tommy or whatever, then it must be a bad thing or whatever, and people must be grifting or whatever. You've even had people saying, oh look, Chris Hargreaves or whatever, he had to like phone the police or whatever because he couldn't deal with the situation at hand or whatever, over the grooming victim. Now, when Tommy was protecting that house in Telford and loyal followers went to the house and sat in that house protecting it all night and whatever, what was the first thing that Tommy did? Did he not ring the police? Did he not? Was that not his first protocol? Oh, but that was different then, was it? But it's not hypocritical levels of madness going on, is it? For me, once things turn into a bit of a cult, and that's what I'm seeing and that's what I'm hearing, do you know what I mean? It's no different than any other cult once it turns into that situation. Now, people are going to do what they're going to do regardless. I believe the Shield will only expand, only grow and get stronger. All you have to do is look along the videos. It doesn't matter who puts the videos out, even the Liam Tufts one and all that. Go and have a look on the comments. Nothing but support, nothing but people wanting to join, people quite happy to fucking jump in both feet or whatever. We can see it's desperate times, desperate measures, and for anybody that's offering to make our streets safer, then it's always going to get an abundance of people supporting that. Now, unlike everyone else that's moaning about it or whatever, I've looked into it all properly. I've also looked into the other groups that are very similar. For me, Shield is the best out of the bunch or whatever, by far. Now, I'm not saying the other ones are not doing a good job or whatever. Anybody that does anything to make our streets safer, our women safer, our children safer, gets the thumbs up from me, gets the support from me. I don't really do groups, do you know what I mean? But for me, I'm just sick of seeing the same shit, different day. And nothing really changes, nothing ever. Do you know what I mean? All that we're doing realistically is waking people up. I've spent enough time around this shit, probably triple the time that a lot of people around it now have been or whatever. And all we're achieving realistically is waking people up. Angry, waking people up to be angry without a solution is not the best idea. Now, if Shield is bringing in the right people and bringing in the people that do actually have the lawful solutions to hold the people in power to account, maybe people like CMW or something similar or whatever, using our constitution and common law, etc., then I think we should be doing that. Definitely. So now I came away from movement as such or whatever 3 years ago when I could see with my own eyes that we're not really doing much now. We've woken enough people up. We now need to move forward to solutions for the people that are left behind and doing what they're doing, continuing to wake people up. You know, that's good. Let them do what they're doing. It's not a bad thing, but I just think a certain amount of people need to move forward to resolve and solution. Other than that, you're just literally in these weird little groups that are just all on the same page. You know what I mean? You're just preaching to the fucking converted. People that are already awake to things and whatever. Now, once you hit a brick wall and you're not really bringing more people in, you got to question why that might be or whatever. Most people do not want to be cast as racist, Islamophobes, blah blah blah, all worthless labels, but to some people it's enough to keep them aside and think, yeah, I can't get involved with that. I don't want to lose my job, I don't want to have labels chucked on me, I don't want to have the family doxed and all this fucked up shit, which goes on. Do you know what I mean? I'm not being funny, but we've all seen it. The people in these groups are quite happy to attack each other. You got people like Jupiter that are enrolling trolls from the left to attack people on the right. These things are all well documented. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, it is a mad situation, and for me, I can see very clearly the bigger picture. And for those that can't, that are stuck in that cult-like mentality or whatever, I do feel a bit sorry for them. I guess they've got to do the amount of years into it or whatever to kind of get some clarity on it or whatever. And that's fine. You know, they believe they can vote the way out of it or whatever else fucking madness that people think. Just keep giving your money to these dead parties that do nothing for you. Keep paying for things like Freedom of Speech Union, where you're all giving you details. Who's gathering the data of all this? Do we know? Is it Jason Tyler? He usually gets his hand in the fucking pie, doesn't he? Collecting everyone's data to then dish out to third-party trolls, and then dox you all or whatever. These things are all documented. Now, for the people that don't want to talk about that, then you're part of the problem. It is that simple. Right, well, that's my thoughts on it anyway. There will be a premiere tonight for Wendy and Jupiter, so we can all see what they're about. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Look after each other, enjoy the day and what's left of the weekend. Stay safe.